I was in car sales before I was in high ticket, and then I got into door to door. I have my own company now, and you really taught me this, Russell, is like you have to have conviction in what you're selling. So I was literally like, I have to go make money to be able to invest because I know I needed the skills. For me, I look at that and I'm like, if a 17-year-old or 16 at the time can figure out this and he's making great money, what is going on in that guy's brain? But I'm like, wait, this guy knows what sales is.
Yeah.
Like
right.
you and Orson taught me the basics. I think the community aspect of Thumber helped a lot in terms of like posting wins and having that positive reinforcement. So I think like December was like 7K, and then I hit 10K in January, and that was like, oh, it's real,
If you have the skill set, you have the center, and you're right, the money is going through you, and that's why sales is so good. Is you are right next to the money. I think you finished last month at 57, something like that.
57K.
Super solid.
Yeah.
Super solid. Breyden, what's up, man? How are you?
Mr. Russell Sage, how are you, bro? I'm doing well.
Doing good. For all of you guys who may not know Breyden, you're at what now? 60 grand a month in the info space, primarily scaling now.
Yeah. So I have my own company now. I'm more of a growth operator role to where scaling info products and love it.
It's doing great. Yeah. So doing about 60 a month. I think you finished last month at 57, something like that. Super solid.
Yeah.
Super solid. Very, very nice. But yeah, I'm just going to run you through a couple of things, but take me back, Breyden, first of all, because I know you're doing fantastic right now. It's great. Take me back to the beginning because first of all, and I'm saying really beginning, I'm not saying beginning in the online world, like before you even got started into remote sales, into this space in the first place, like what were you doing then?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, for me specifically, I think maybe I was in a different position than maybe a lot of guys. Like I've gone through a few different phases where like I was in competitive sports, I surfed professionally, I fought in MMA competitively, and I was kind of pursuing a couple different paths there. And when I started kind of figuring out how to make money, I was just working different jobs, hospitality jobs, valet, trying to figure out how kind of the beginning stage of business works. Got involved in sales, tried to do car sales. Wasn't very good at it, didn't really make much money.
Okay.
And then
so you were in sales already.
Yeah, I was in car sales before I was in high ticket, and then I got into door to door. And so like I did door to door sales before I got into high ticket, and that was probably like really when I first started to figure out actually just sales in general, and then I met you guys.
Yeah. So how is that going? So you were in door to door the summer before we met you, or did you only do that one summer or more than one?
I did that one summer, and I never wanted to go back.
Well, tell me about that, because I see people preaching door to door sales like it's the best thing. Like, what was up with that?
The same people that are preaching door to door sales like it's the best thing are making an override on all your sales.
Yeah.
So of course they're going to preach that. It's the same as like when people say you should get involved in insurance sales. It's like, for me, sales, and you really taught me this, Russell, is like you have to have conviction in what you're selling,
Sure.
I don't really have conviction in selling pest control and what I was selling, and so like, and you're going cold door to door, you're talking to people, and it's like, I mean, I made a little bit of money, but it's not something that's scalable. There's no way I could be in the type of position I am now if I stayed where I was.
No, and you're also working long days. You're also in person, right? Like you could hire a team under you, but it's never going to be online. So let me ask this then. You're doing door to door, so obviously you're in the sales space already. Do you know how much you made that summer? I'm just curious.
30 grand in 4 months.
Okay, so not the worst, especially to people watching this. Probably not the worst. So for you then, what was it to where like you got to get into the online space? That's something that you got to do next.
Dude, the ability to work remotely is like, there's so many people who are just trapped to where they have to be working in a physical location to make money.
Yeah.
And everyone hears about it, sees about it, the whole making money online thing. But it's very real, and I wanted it. I wanted to be able to work wherever I want. I just got back from Paris and Spain. I made more money while I was away, So it's like, that was kind of the freedom aspect.
And did you have that before? Any job, anything, or not really?
I mean, I traveled, but not to where it's like you're able to literally work anywhere at any hour. You're able to actually do things and like apply yourself too. It's one thing to make money. Making money is amazing. But to be able to, if you are someone who's a thinker, who is ambitious and does things, you want to always work. You want to have a vessel and a vehicle to apply that creativity to.
Of course.
If you have a physical location that you open and close, you're going to have to get out of bed, go to that physical location to be able to work, you know? So like,
yeah, you know, and I'm on board with that. That's why I kind of got into the online space as well. It's great. You can travel around. I'm super. We'll talk about that later. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Into online. So like you got the idea. You want to move into online, right? You did door to door this summer. You made 30 grand in 4 months. It's not the worst, by the way. I've heard way worse than that.
Yeah.
How'd that process go? So I'm talking the process of finding us, joining up, learning remote, because obviously that is a learning curve, right? Like, 100%. You know, you have the talent, but it definitely is a learning curve. How did all of that go? Like the initial switch, because some people struggle with that for sure. I've seen it. I'm sure you have.
I have now a lot, and especially being on the other side of it now. You know, I hopped on like multiple sales calls. Like I tried ecom, I tried, you know, drop shipping, failed. I tried Amazon, you know, failed. Yeah. And it was like all these different things required so much upfront capital. And like I didn't have anything, you know? And so like for me, I literally went and did door to door because I wanted to get in high ticket. And I was like, I wanted to invest in a program. So I was literally like, I have to go make money to be able to invest because I know I needed the skills. Skills pay the bills. And I didn't have the knowledge or the skills. Yeah, right. So like, but I knew that I needed the right people.
So for you, it was a setup. For you, it was you're not going to spend a year in door to door, spend a couple of years in door to door. It was a setup to what you wanted to get to. That's smart.
Yeah, but I could have easily gone with like some other. There are scam offers out there that don't actually help people get actually like learn. You know, so like I hopped on probably 5 or 6 calls before I hopped on a call with you and Orson.
And what kind of things maybe did you see a little bit differently? I'm curious about that because you're right. There is a lot of fraudulent stuff out there. I mean, I've seen it. I'm sure you've seen it. You're on the other end of it, right?
Yeah.
What ticked off to where it's like, these are the guys I want to work with?
For me, like, I don't think about age. A lot of people are like, dude, I'm not like, you're 17. Yeah. A lot of guys that are already adults can be like, oh, I'm not going to listen to some 17-year-old teach me about how to make money, you know, and their kind of pride goes up. For me, I look at that and I'm like, if a 17-year-old or 16 at the time can figure out this and he's making great money, what is going on in that guy's brain? How quickly is he learning this and able to apply it? That's amazing. I want to learn from someone who is learning that quickly. Yeah. I don't want to learn from someone who's built this big organization and now they're in like they're just making content and I'm hopping on with one of their sales guys. And it's like, I know I'm just going to be another like clog in the machine or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I get it fully. You had that. First of all, we had that connection initially, but I think that's a good way to look at it. And I'm sure it's not even about age, but any limiting belief whatsoever. You see, especially when you're on sales calls, you see people put the ego shield up. They don't want to work with you. They don't want to answer questions from you. All of that. 100%. You get it all the time. So I think that's a good way to look at it. I think it's smart. Now let's do this. Let's go in. So now you're in. Now you're a student. Obviously,
wait, I want to say one more thing. You asked me questions, man, that were like so impactful. You asked me questions that made me like really stumped me. And now I understand what you were doing. I didn't then. And I'm like, bro, I need to learn what this kid knows how to do. Anyway, go ahead.
That's funny that you say that, actually, because my first mentorship I ever joined, same thing. I was on a call and my head was honestly spinning. Like, seriously, I didn't know what was going on. I couldn't find a way out. So it's funny that you said I had the same exact experience. I was like, bro, if this kid can do this to me, I need to know what the secret is. Like, what is he doing? So it's funny that you say that. And I remember the call, but let's go into what's the learning curve for you? Because you were already in sales a little bit. Was it hard? Was it like you kind of got a grip of it, but it took a little bit? Like how'd that feel initially? Because you went straight into closing. Which I respect.
I went straight into closing because, especially in like, I did, car sales for a bit and then door to door. And I would say even with that experience, I knew nothing about sales. I didn't know actually what sales was. So I was just, maybe I was making money and I was closing deals, but I thought sales was just about kind of like communication. And it was about kind of like, okay, you're friends with the person. You build a lot of rapport. I have like a personality, so I would bond with the person. That's what I thought sales was. The way that you were asking questions made me go, okay, wait, I understood to some extent what you were doing. I didn't know what was going on, but I'm like, wait, this guy knows what sales is. So like when you started, I'm like, okay, I think I could learn this quickly. And I feel like I could learn it faster if I go straight into it and jump into the deep end. Because I'd already had a taste of like closing deals and getting that kind of dopamine hit, you know? And so I'm like, okay, I'm just going to jump straight into closing, sink or swim, because I had some money saved up. Yeah, and I think it was the best thing I ever did.
I would agree with you. I think it was really smart that you did that. But while you were learning closing, was it super streamlined the entire way through? Were there a couple offers you didn't know how it was going? Like, how was that? Because I know it can be a little bit, even for me, it was rocky in the beginning. It's hard to get a grip. Sometimes hard to get a grip of.
It took me 2 or 3 months to even get on an offer.
Yeah.
Like you and Orson taught me the basics. And if I simply relied on you guys just teaching me that or just off those calls, it would have been 6 months. But like I went, you know, and like I was in Hawaii and I would just study the script all day. And I'd just be thinking, why am I asking this question? And I would go over the calls that we did. What are they saying here? And then I would reverse engineer on my own time. I wasn't relying on you guys and saying, hey, you guys need, it was like I took the information that you guys taught me and then I'm like, I got to do most of the work. And then like once I understood it, like, okay, month 1, I literally just studying and hopped on calls back and forth with you guys, role playing with Ton and everyone else in Thumber, role playing constantly. You would text me, hey, I want you to role play with this guy. I want you to role play with this guy. I want you to role play with this guy, you know? And like, I understood that this is the process. When the time comes, I'm going to be prepared.
It's funny you bring that up too, because a question I have, and I only ask this because sometimes it is hard for people to understand what the process looks like, and they'll get in and it's like, you know, we're 1 month in and they haven't seen results yet. And this was me a little bit, but back when I was doing dropshipping, things like that. Yeah. How were you able to, and I think this is going to be a good thing for people to see, is put yourself, I would say, in a different perspective, and understand what's going on, understand what you need to do, and get ready for an offer, get ready for an opportunity, rather than being like, hey, why isn't this coming to me? What's going on here? Because it did take a little bit. It did take a couple months.
Dude, it took 2.5 months, literally. Yeah. And like, but when that first offer came, well, I mean, let's backtrack. Like in the process, the whole, at least my mentality is like, okay, make it undeniable. In anything, when you have the skills, opportunities come to you. So I'm like, okay, increase the skills as high as I can to where when opportunity knocks, I'm going to be there to capitalize.
Yeah.
The offer that I got on is now the offer I've already, we did 120,000 last month, you know? Yeah. And now I have a few different clients, but like the same first client that I got, one of the first ones, I'm still with a year later.
Absolutely.
You know? So that's like when opportunity came, you jump on it, you know, and you're ready.
Yeah, no, 100%. That's so big to say, number one, because that's a trend that I see with everybody. Obviously, Connor, one of the other students, he's closing now for Mason. That's where he started setting, right? Yeah. That's a trend. For me, the first offer I ever closed on is what I started setting on. Those relationships really matter. They really do. And I want to talk about in a minute your whole transitionary period there, because I remember that, and that was interesting too.
Yeah.
It was. Nothing's ever fully streamlined, and that's good. That's not the way it's meant to be. But before we get there, we'll go back to now we're into closing. You get on your first couple offers. Okay. You're in 2 or 3 months. You learned. Now you're on an offer or two. Where were you at there? Where were you at in commission-wise? Where were you at offer-wise? How are you feeling? How are you thinking about everything? What's the next step for you? What did that look like?
There were still so many repetitions that needed to be like in place. I would lose out on deals, and then I would, watch my calls back. I think I made like 2 or 3K in my first month, if that, maybe 2K in total.
Yeah.
Just enough proof of concept where I'm like, okay, this is real,
That's how it is. So that's a similar thing with me. I felt like it was actually go time. Like it was, now this is something. After that, where do you go? So you make like 2-3 grand, proof of concepts there. How do you get to the next? I know we hopped on some call reviews. We were going over everything, making sure it was all good. But where do you go from there?
The call reviews were huge. Orson did a bunch of my call reviews. You did call reviews for me, and still really continued to work on my end. And like, I think I probably watched the call reviews, probably 10, 15 times each, and then trying to figure out, okay, why are they saying that? How could this have been different? And then taking it to live calls. Now jumping on live calls, trying to do things different. And then, like starting to make some money was, I remember in December I made 7K, and like
so
that was
it up now.
Yeah. And I think like December I saw like real proof of concept. I was like, I really start closing deals. I was on like 2 offers now, like an Amazon one with you, and then I was on one other one. I was like, oh my gosh, I made $7 grand this month. Like I had gone from Hawaii, flew back to California to have Christmas with my family, and like
I remember this.
I was closing deals while I was in California, and I was like, it was insane. It was so cool.
So let's talk about that then. How did that feel? Now you're with your family. I imagine you told them kind of what you're doing. Maybe they're even seeing you taking calls.
They were like, they would walk into my room and I had like my whole setup, I had this like microphone because I traveled. I brought my webcam, my microphone, everything with me to create the infrastructure for my sales call. And they're like, I get pretty intense on sales calls. And they're like, what's going on in there,
Yeah, no. I mean, but it must have been a good feeling though.
Dude, it was insane. Yeah.
So bring us through. So you do 7 grand in December. How do we get to the 10, 15 grand months?
Lots of reps, lots of reps, and just continue to take sales calls, ask questions. I think the community aspect of Thumber helped a lot in terms of like posting wins and having that positive reinforcement of like, there's a community that's saying like, oh, like, dude, congrats,
Yeah.
And then hopping on calls with you guys, asking questions, and then just putting in the time, and doing my work, doing the homework.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I ever once got angry or anything like that at you guys of like, hey man, I should already be at 10K. I should already be on an offer or something. It was like, okay, this must mean something. What do I have to do differently? It was always about what do I have to do differently,
That's a good way to look at it too. It really is, because not many people look at it that way, and it's good that you bring out the reinforcement. For me, at least, it was something to look forward to, and not even reinforcement, people were looking up to as well, and that's a strong thing too. Now let me ask, we'll kind of move past closing a little bit. I know that's a big part of, obviously, like that's the core, like that's, and for me too, like that's the core. But what was the most you did closing in a month? And bring us there, and then we'll jump to now.
So I think like December was like 7K, and then I hit 10K in January. Okay. And that was like, oh, it's real, like, okay, that like 10K a month. And then from there, I think February it was February when I hit my first 15K month. And I remember I was driving with my brother, who also lived on the other side of that in Hawaii, and his girlfriend. I was in like the backseat. I think I was closing a deal like over texting. And I remember like I was like doing the math. I was like, I hit 15K this month. And like his girlfriend like turned around. She's like, you made 15 grand this month? I was like, yeah. She's like, what the heck? Like, what are you doing? I'm like, don't worry about it.
Yeah, no. Well, tell me about that. How was that? Dude? I would feel great in that kind of situation. It'd be awesome.
Dude, you just you feel like the man. You feel so competent, because you're making your money. You're only getting paid you're eating what you kill, so to speak. I've never been in that position where I'm making, on track for multi 6 figures only from the work that I'm doing. No salary, nothing.
Well, tell me about that real quick, because I agree. That's like the strongest feeling. I love it so much. It's every time a deal goes through, it's like, I did this. This is me. But is there anything you have to add to that? Because that's such a strong thing. It's the greatest feeling in the world. Yeah,
I just let that drive me. And it was just like, I just was so hungry. I can't even say it. Like, I was just so like, I'm making this happen. I didn't sleep much. Like I know, like I'm a big health and wellness guy, and I'm very big on health. But like,
Yeah.
I would go to bed at midnight. I was in a different time zone. It didn't matter. I would go to bed at midnight. I would wake up at 5 a.m. Whatever it took, like to be on the calls, to do the work, to just make the money and continually to progress.
Yeah.
I don't know if that answers your question.
No, it does. That's big. And then bring me through. So February we do 15, March, April. Where are we going there? How's that?
So March, April, that's when my mind really started working in terms of like, I was starting to think about the marketing side. I was starting to think about the fulfillment side. I was starting to think about the setting side. I was now managing a setter, you know? So,
So
I got
now
into,
the gears are turning into operating. How do you get a higher leverage position?
Well, for one, like, and this was kind of my thought process, like just from the beginning, I was like, I don't think I ever told you this, but I'm like, Russell and Orson, I saw how quickly you guys were learning. I'm like, they're 6 months ahead of their learning curve is like, let's say 12 months ahead of mine. Where are they going to be in 12 months? Like they're closing right now, but they're going to be scaling these offers. So I was like, I was on calls. I was almost able to track your mindset. So like, and then I saw once you guys started scaling offers and we would hop on calls, you would talk about how you're doing it. And then from there, started growing the offer I was on. And I don't know what part you want me to talk about. What do you think?
I mean, talk about what you can talk about because it was an interesting situation and we worked through all of it. Here's what I'll say real quick about what you said. You always were like a sponge, like really like everything was picked up. Every piece of information was picked up. That's so big because you can't leave a note unturned. You really have to do that. And that's great. So we'll put that to the side though. So now it's April, May, if I have the timeline right. And we need the higher leverage position. We want to make more. You're doing great, but you want to get to the next point. I mean, tell me what you want to tell me. I know about it a little bit, but and it was an interesting situation. But what's going through your mind? What's happening? Let's see it.
I mean, I'll get into like a little bit of details. Like at least for me, my leadership style is like, if there's a ship that's going to crash, I am not going to ask to grab the steering wheel. I am literally just going to grab it and assume the position and wait for maybe a captain to show up and say, hey, no, I got it, and if that doesn't happen, then like, okay, at least we didn't crash into the rocks. So like, that's the approach I kind of take to most things. So like, especially with this, like I was learning at such a fast pace and I understood what needed to be done for myself to make money as well as the offers I was on. So I just did it. I didn't ask for permission. I just did it, and I basically worked people around me out of a job because my value went up here. I just basically reverse engineered how everyone else was doing things and said, I have to do this in order to make more money. I have to tell this influencer how to create content in order so I can get better leads. I have to tell this DM setter what to do. I have to, I just, and then basically I got to a point where there are people in my way now, and so I basically like gave that offer owner an ultimatum. I said, listen, either I'm leaving or someone else is leaving. Either I'm starting my own company, taking over this offer, or someone else is.
Well, hold on. So what's going over in your head when you do that? did you ask me about that, or was that kind of something that you came up to? Because I don't remember.
I had ran this by you because I was like, man, like, dude, what should I do in this situation, Russell? Because XYZ is happening. And like, dude, I'm bottlenecked. You know this. Nothing feels worse when your mind is ambitious than being bottlenecked. That's why you get into entrepreneurship to begin with, to get out of the bottleneck. So it was like, dude, how do I handle this? And you're like, dude, I recommend doing this and this, and I tried those things and it was like, didn't really work, and then just because the other individual, like they're good ideas, but the other individuals just weren't into it. And then like, eventually I think you like recommended, dude, like you got to either just spread your wings or like kind of give an ultimatum. What's the worst that can happen? Because I think you helped me realize, I was like, wait, when you're the one making the money, you have the most say. Yes. If you've committed, if you put yourself in a position to where, listen, we're making money because of me. Like, you're going to be very, it's going to be very evident when I'm gone, So like, and that's the idea from the beginning. Make yourself unavoidable. Make yourself like skills first. and then like the demand follows. So like that's what I just did. I focused on myself, and eventually got to a point where it was like, we need to get here. I know how to get there.
Yeah.
Do you want to do this or do you want to do that? And it was like, okay, you're in charge. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it worked out the way that it did, and it did work out well in the end of it. And just a one thing that I want to highlight that you said, you build it around the skills. You build it around the skills. Like that's it. That's the only way to do it. You didn't hop in on day one and try and assume the position and try and grab the steering wheel. You didn't do that. And I mean, you could have, right? You could have done that, but it's good. The ship is still going to sink. The ship is still going to crash. But if you have the skill set, you have the center, and you're right, the money is going through you. And that's why sales is so good, is you are right next to the money. You are right next to the sale. What are they going to do? You did a really good job of hopping in there. Now, we'll wrap up a little bit, but bring me forward to the rest of it. Because now you take the position. Now you're operating. Bring me through the numbers. Bring me through how you start scaling it out. Now you start a business. Now you're operating fully. How does that go?
Yeah. So now I have my own company, Strategic Growth Partners, to where I really take a very strategic approach. I really like to play the long game in terms of making sure like every part of the process is in place, that, the customers are happy, the sales is happening. But really focusing on the marketing strategy aspect. Obviously it begins with content and really understanding how to bring in the exact leads that we need. And then, figuring out how to train setters and closers, and you guys help so much with this. Obviously, like really how to now manage a team. And from there, it kind of like went, I think there was a slight dip. There was like a slight dip where I'm like, and I was almost pissed at myself. I was like, because I was like, okay, there's a lot of roles now that you're playing. You're now in like a CEO position. There's some shoes that you've never put on before, but like you're also trying to do the thing that you're good at. And so you got to figure out how to manage your time, when to do this, when to do that. And I think my income dipped like slightly for 1 month. And then I just doubled down on the stuff I wasn't good at, figured it out. And then I passed 20K a month in, what was the last month we were talking about?
We were talking about May. May, June that you were taking everything over. You're moving into operating.
So it was May that I hit my first 20K a month, and that was like really big. That was another like turning point where I'm like, whoa. But really just the same thing. And then like it really has ramped up in the last like 2 months to where it's just, I renegotiated certain things and just the money's just it just took off.
I love it. Let's do this. Is there anything else you want to add, talk about? I'll say first, for you, at least what I've seen from day one, is it's all in the details. It's all in the little details. Like there's a lot of stuff that's boring that needs to get done. You talk about reps. You kept talking about reps. Such a big thing that like it's boring to talk about, but everybody that's good got there through repetitions. You cannot get good without that. I think not only that, but the details, and you're talking about rewatching something 15 times. You're talking about your income goes down a little bit. And when most people are taking a step back, you're taking a step forward. You're going more into it. You're learning why that's happening. You're taking a step in. Again, it's those little things that not too many people do. And if you have that skill set, it's very strong. And I assume you'd agree with that. Like that's what I've seen from you. But is there anything else that played a role in your journey? Anything else that you want to talk about? Anything else that's super important to you that really helped you out, do you feel?
I think you said it super well. It's just like focus on what you can do better. Like do not, like if at least for myself, like I'm trying to think about what I can do better to make more money. Like really accepting and owning that my income is a direct reflection of my ability to provide value to the marketplace. Whether that's in sales, as a business owner, as a growth operator, whatever it is, as a content creator, whatever it is. And it's no one's fault if I'm not bringing value to that marketplace. It's my own. So what do I got to do? If I want to make more than 30 grand a month, what do I have to do differently?
Yeah.
And then what's the actionable plan day to day? put the reps in, do the work, and don't bitch and complain if you don't get there because it's your fault.
Yeah. That's the way you have to look at it. That's the only way to look at it. You can look at it through the mindset of somebody who, it's all promised. How am I going to get, like, this is, I need this now. Or you can do what you did and you can sit back. You can put in the repetitions. You can put in the work. You can grind it out. You can be in the details. You can study every day. And I think we see what happens from that.
And surround yourself with good people. I think and know that people aren't going to want to be around you if you suck. Straight up. Like in this industry, especially, if you stink and you're not good at what you do, and you're like, you smell, dude, no one wants to talk to you. Get better, and then people are going to want to talk to you. There's nothing wrong with it. Do the work, man.
The first thing we talked about, you got to grow your skills first. You have to raise your value. Those people will surround you. And it just keeps going from there. But
100%.
Like I said, I mean, we're looking at it, the repetitions, the details, everything that you need, sitting back, making it work, taking these first risks, doubling down when things are getting worse. I mean, we see how it pays off. So here we go.
You're the man.